I'm told and I understand, and using this as a baseline, if $2,400 per month for a foreign national in terms of subsidies cash in hand, with a guarantee of 7 years, full run, is $201,600 per person, per single person.
The media is desperate for this story to go away. And the reason they're so desperate for it to go away is because what's happening in Springfield, Ohio, has opened up a bigger, a broader conversation. And now it's not just about what's happening in Springfield anymore. People are talking about what's happening in their cities. People are doing research into what's happening in their towns. And that's the last thing they want, because now we got little news stories popping up all over America about similar things happening in other people's communities. But it didn't really have to be this way. Honestly, I think the story about what's happening in Springfield would have already gone away. It would have already been buried in the news cycle. There's so much going on out here that people probably wouldn't even be talking about it anymore if it wasn't for them constantly doubling down on their lies, pretending like nothing is happening there. And this has backfired. It's backfired on them drastically, because they're the ones that are keeping the conversation going by constantly denying what's happening, by trying to use this as a talking point to smear certain people. What they're doing is they're keeping the conversation alive. And the longer this conversation is alive, the more, information we're going to uncover and dig up that's, from stories happening all over America. But they're desperate. They're so desperate that they were causing, I got to be careful how I word this because, we're on YouTube. But there were several situations there for a couple of days where they were having to evacuate buildings because of certain claims that were being made. Supposedly someone was saying they're going to do something bad. And it was obvious that this was all fake, that this was all a distraction, that this is something that the powers that be were doing to stop people from talking about what's happening in Springfield, Ohio. And now the freaking governor even had to admit that they were all hoaxes that were being phoned in from overseas, aka the powers that be were using overseas accounts to phone in these hoax claims about bad things that were going to happen in Springfield, Ohio, in order to distract people from the real problems. Let's listen to what the governor had to say, and then I'll be right back.
Released 33 separate bomb threats, each one of which has been responded to, and each one of whom has been found as a hoax. So 33 threats, 33 hoax. I want to make that very, very clear. None of these had any validity at all. We know that people are very, very concerned, and we have taken some actions, and in a moment I'll let Andy Wilson go into more detail. But we've moved resources into Springfield. So I want to say to the parents in Springfield, these hoaxes, these threats have all been hoaxes. None of them have panned out. We have people, unfortunately, overseas who are taking these actions. Some of them are coming from one particular country. We think that this is, one more opportunity to mess with the United States, and they're continuing to do that. So we cannot let the bad guys win. Our schools must remain open.
Now, personally, I never paid any of that stuff any attention because I already knew what it was. Y'all are so desperate that y'all are stooping to this level, trying to steer the conversation away from the actual problems in Springfield, Ohio. And you see, So much time is being spent on people talking about the animal aspect to this story, and people aren't really talking about the human aspect. I believe that the media and the powers that be, they want us caught up arguing about what's happening to the animals in Springfield instead of focusing on the fact that people are being hurt, people are being killed. One of the major complaints is actually all the traffic accidents that are happening. Because these people are there, they have no business driving. In many cases, they're given wads of cash. They're out here buying cars, driving around with no training, and they're literally killing people. They've killed an old lady. They've killed a young kid, crashed into a freaking school bus, injured a ton of kids, almost killed all of the kids on the school bus. In fact, a mother of two of the children that were on that bus, mind you, one kid did not make it. But a mother with two kids who almost didn't make it, who have gone through months of rehab now, she's speaking out. Because unfortunately for her, she's having to pay for these problems. Because you see these Haitians that are driving around crashing into everyone, they don't got any insurance. They don't even have a license. So all of this bad stuff is happening. And the people of Springfield, Ohio have to pay for these problems because it's uninsured motorists driving all around, right? So the law-abiding citizens of Springfield, Ohio are the ones that are having to fit the bill when they're almost killed by these Haitian immigrants that are driving around with no business driving. Let's go ahead and roll this clip. Let's listen to what this mother has to say, and then I'll be right back with more thoughts.
I have some tea as a mom of two boys that were on that bus that crashed in Springfield, Ohio. So, before the trial was set to begin, I got a call from somebody at the Ohio Attorney General's office saying, this is when the trial is going to be, this is where it's going to be, do you want to attend, do you want to speak, yada yada. And when she finished up informing me of everything, she asked me, did I have any questions? And I said, yes, actually. My insurance has paid for everything, the emergency room visits, physical therapy, but there's some stuff that they won't cover. So I've got these bills now that are piling up. I thought that when somebody gets into an accident and it's not your fault, that you shouldn't be responsible for paying them. I don't know what's going on with the situation because the driver was not even supposed to be driving because he was an illegal Haitian immigrant. So she said that I could apply for the Ohio Attorney General's victims compensation. So I filled out all the paperwork, did my due diligence, signed off on all the forms to get all the medical records and everything, uploaded everything to them, and I got a generic email for each of my boys stating that they're gonna investigate everything and get back to me with a letter in the mail. So I thought that everything was gonna be smoothed over. I thought that everything, I was relieved. I got 2 letters in the mail, one for each of my boys, stating that the Ohio Attorney General's victims compensation will not pay for any of the bills. And one of the reasons was that a witness reported the crime, but what does that have to do with anything? So, yeah, I have to pay money because an illegal immigrant hit my children's school bus and injured them, and they had to go 2 months of physical therapy.
So as I was saying earlier, in many cases, these immigrants are given just boatloads of money, right? They go out, buy vehicles. They don't have a license. They don't even ride around with license plates. And they damn sure don't have insurance. And it's crazy because the police do literally nothing about this. But the people of Springfield, Ohio, they still have to live by the same rules and laws. So it's really weird when you're driving down the street and you get pulled over by the police for, I don't know, maybe you were speeding a few miles over the limit. Maybe you didn't have a seatbelt on, right? So you're a person who's native to this area and you have to abide by certain laws, but the Haitian immigrants do not. They drive around, no license plates on their vehicles, no insurance, okay? And the cops just let them drive on by. Meanwhile, they're pulling you over for petty things. So I want you to understand, it's not complete lawlessness in Springfield, Ohio. The people of Springfield still have to follow the actual rules. The Haitian immigrants are above the law. And in many ways, this is it's emboldening them in a way where they feel like they're above the law. They feel like they can do what they want and get away with it. In fact, one of these immigrants actually ran over an old lady as she was taking out the trash, and nothing was done to him. He was driving with no license. I'm not sure about the license plate, but damn sure no insurance. Had no business being behind the wheel. He has not been arrested. Nothing done to him at all, right? It's absolutely insane what's going on in Springfield. But it's not just Springfield, and I cannot stress this enough. This is happening in small little towns all over America. I just uncovered that this is happening in portions of Alabama as we speak. So don't think that your community is a community that cannot be affected by this, because some of you might not even know that some of this stuff is actually already happening in your backyard. You know, they have a way of making it seem like everything is hunky-dory when it's really not, because the police don't show up to half of these calls. They don't even file official reports when it comes to a lot of these crimes that are going on. The media covers it up. They don't cover these crimes. They don't cover these stories. So you may be out here not knowing that all of this stuff is happening in your community because the people who you depend on for news and information aren't giving it to you. So you got to make sure that you're talking to the people of your community, because that's the only way you're going to know the truth about what's going on. And that's the only reason we know the truth about what's going on in Springfield. Because instead of listening to the lies spewed by the media and by certain politicians, we're going to listen to the actual people on the ground who are living through this nightmare. And there's so many other stories that I still have to bring you. There's not enough time in the day to go through them all. But as of right now, I do believe that Vivek Ramaswamy is in Springfield, Ohio. He's going to have some sort of town hall meeting. There's still city hall meetings happening where residents are speaking out. So I'll be bringing you all some clips from those in the future. But for now, let me know your thoughts about all of this down in the comments below. While you're down there, hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe, ring that notification bell, and I'll talk to you all very soon in the next one.